Bear with me 1 second and we'll get going. All right, so we are live in the on TikTok, on Facebook, YouTube. We're live everywhere. So today we're going to be talking about the 7 principles of selling. Now, these are the 7 principles that I've created. There's obviously could be more, less. We could argue about which ones are more important, but these are the 7 principles that I have created, outlined, believed to be the most important in what I teach. So if you have any questions about any of this stuff while we're going on, just drop the questions in the comments and I will be make sure to uh, get back to you and answer those for you. So here we go. Number 1, understanding objections. And I'm just going to read these first and then I'll talk about them. So understanding objections, it goes like this. Keep this in mind. Unanswered questions will lead to objections. Obviously, if our prospect doesn't truly have the money or time frame doesn't match their needs, we can't help them. All right. Most objections will come from the prospect's lack of understanding, and it's up to the contractor or whoever's selling to understand the need to answer these questions. And sometimes the prospect doesn't even know the right question to ask you to understand or get through that objection. All right. GM. I don't know what that means, La Native, but I appreciate it. Good morning. I got it. Good morning. Thank you. So understanding objections. Here's the thing about objections. The only reason objections exist with someone is because there's 2 reasons for an objections. One, you haven't confidently or completely answered a concern or question that they have. Okay? You haven't confidently or completely or at all answered a concern or question that they have. That's the number 1 reason. The number 2 reason for objections is they don't feel confident enough that you're the person that's going to provide them the solution to the problem they're looking to solve. Okay? So in sales, and specifically contractor sales, this goes into if you show up for a sales meeting and you're driving a piece of crap truck and you got your Budweiser t-shirt on and your Bass Pro Shop hat and you're wearing flip-flops and you look like a hobo, you're not going to be protruding a ton of confidence in your ability to deliver the said product. That doesn't mean that you don't have the confidence. It doesn't mean that you're not capable. You could be the very best person on earth who delivers this product, but your image in that scenario is not protruding confidence. Someone who's interacting with you or meeting with you. For some people, having tattoos can be a negative experience if they have tattoos on them and they see that, especially if you got dumb stuff like fu on your forehead. Probably not going to have enough protrude enough confidence into your ability to deliver what they're looking for. All right. So understanding objections. The other thing about unanswered questions or haven't answered them confidently, if someone says, we're wanting to get into this, if you say, when do you want this project done? And they say, well, we're hoping to have it done in the next 3 months. Like we want to have it done in 3 months because we're having this party or families coming in or whatever it might be. This is what our time frame. And if your response is, well, 3 months is going to be tight because we got a lot of work on the schedule, I think we can probably get it done by then. Does that sound confident in the answer to them? Are you confidently answering them? If someone says, I think we can do it or probably can do it, that's not a confident answer. And so if you're on the receiving end of that, if you're the client who's buying this, you're going to be like, man, they do good work and we like them, but they just didn't seem very confident in their ability to provide, get it done by that deadline. Like we need to get done by that deadline. Versus if they say we need it done in 3 months, and I said, it's going to be a little tight, but we can make it happen for sure. My guys are on point. They're going to work hard. If we have to work nights and weekends to make it happen, we'll get it done for you. I promise we'll meet that deadline. That's a confident answer. The first one's not a confident answer. So that can be an objection later on. Yeah. TWRI Cali. I'm the guy who can do it cheaper. I move towns every few months. They can't get me. Yeah. I hope you're being sarcastic, but yeah, that happens a lot. So anyways, that's understanding objections, right? So if you're not completely if you don't understand that's where objections come from, it's because of one of two things. Again, aside from the financial aspect, they can't afford it. You're 50,000, their budget's 20,000. There's no way they can afford it. That's an objection that you can't overcome. The other one is time. I need it done next week. Well, we're booked up for 3 months. You can't overcome that objection. Okay. So the other objections are you haven't confidently answered or completely answered, or they don't feel confident that you're the guy that can do it. It's easy to solve the confidence problem. I say easy. I mean, you just have to be more confident in your answers. You have to have a better brand and image about your business. That includes so many different aspects of having reviews, having all kinds of testimonials and things like that. That helps build that confidence level that people have in you. Okay. But the number one thing is you haven't answered the questions completely. A lot of really good salesmen, when in their pitches or and when they're talking, will know the most common objections, and then they will answer those objections in their sales pitch before the person even has the opportunity to ask it. If I was talking to someone and I said, you're probably going to ask me like, how soon can we get this done? And I hear this all the time. And right now, our schedule, we are 2 months out. Now, that's just a very basic example, but I'm asking or I'm answering the question in an objection, or I'm answering a question that they will have before they even ask the question. What that does is it allows you to seem like someone who knows what they're doing because you know that this is going to be a common question that comes up. So if you answer these common questions or objections that come up during the process before the prospect has the opportunity to actually ask that question, it's going to make you seem very confident and that you got your crap together, right? Because you're answering these. So that's understanding objections, number one. Number two, the consultation approach. And again, if you're just joining me, I'm reading these. These are the 7 principles of contractor sales. I'm reading these and then I'll not talk about them. So number 2 is the consultation approach. If you are helping people get what they want, there is no need to sell them. Too many contractors roll into a meeting with a prospect selling and not listening. Establishing the sales meeting is a consultation. Establishing a sales meeting as a consultation puts the prospect at ease and sets the contractor up to command a fee for the meeting the prospect is at the property. So in my coaching group, we teach about getting a consultation charge or consultation fee to go out and look at jobs. But even if you're meeting in person or on the phone, it does not matter. When you're meeting with someone, that should be a consultation, right? If you're watching this, drop a 1 in the chat if you love talking to salesmen. Like you're like, I can't wait to go talk to this salesman for this product we're going to go buy, right? I mean, I love talking to salesmen. I love being sold to, all that. I just love that whole experience. Put a 1 in the chat if that's you, if you love it. I'm pretty sure nobody's going to put a 1 in there unless you're just a smart ass, because nobody likes to be sold to ever about anything. So when you go and you change it from a sales meeting to a consultation, it removes a lot of the stress that goes with being sold or selling something. I haven't sold anything in years, like many years. I haven't sold anything because everything is a consultation. All I'm going to do is just talk to you, find out what your need is, see if I can help you. If I can help you, I'll share with you what that looks like and what the investment is. If it makes sense to you and you want to move forward, great. If not, that's okay. We'll part ways and be friends. That's it. There's no hard selling. There's no, closing techniques. There's no car salesman bull crap, none of that stuff. It's just a consultation. I'm just trying to see if I can help. I have 2 calls scheduled this afternoon with potential clients, and that's all we're going to do. I'm just going to find out what their need is, and if it fits within my ability to help them, I'll share with them what it looks like in the investment, and then they can decide if it makes sense. All right. So create a friendly environment, a consultation environment. I like to use the example of when you're talking to someone, you should be sitting on the same side of the table as them. You should have your arm around them and you're just guiding them through the situation or what's going on. Hey man, let's figure this out. What's going on? What do you need help with? Right? What kind of projects are you wanting done? Let's see if we can work out something to get this done for you. It's not you're sitting across the table and you're interrogating them like they're a criminal and you're the cop and you're just, well, when do you want this done? Well, what's your budget? Well, why did you call me? Well, you know this is going to be expensive. Like when you do stuff like that, you're interrogating them, right? Who wants to be interrogated? So be a consult, be consultative with them, have a consultation approach. Okay. Number 3, time kills deals. Pretty self-explanatory, but quick response to leads is paramount. If we as contractors cannot tend to the leads quickly, mind the gap between meetings with flair and keep the prospects engaged during your sales funnel. The prospect can be lost just because they called you and said, yeah, that sounds good. Let's schedule a meeting and you're not following up or it's 3 weeks away. You can still lose a prospect. Prospects can be impatient and oftentimes get distracted from the purchase by squirrels, right? The shiny object syndrome. They call you, you answer the phone, you say, yeah, I can help you out, but it's going to be 3 weeks before I can come out and look at your job. It's going to be 6 months before we can start. And they go, okay, yeah, that's fine. And then you schedule the appointment for 3 weeks. They get off the phone, they call someone else. And another guy's like, well, yeah, we can get out there. I can come out there this afternoon, actually, and we can start in a month. You may just have lost that sale, right? So you have to keep, if you're not going to be able to service someone in a timely manner, then you have to stay front of mind and give them little gold nuggets along the way, keeping in touch with them every often with them, even after the sale. Even if you make the sale and you collect a deposit and it's going to be 6 months before you start that job, you shouldn't be collecting a deposit and say, okay, I'll get back with you in 5.5 months whenever we're ready to start. Right? Like you shouldn't be doing that. You should be every week, every other week, every so often touching base with them to let them know, hey, I'm still here. I didn't just take your $20,000 deposit and run out of town. I'm still here. We're waiting on your project. We got materials ordered. Materials just came in, blah, blah, blah. You're constantly staying in contact with them throughout the whole process. It's the same for the sales, from very first contact until project is finished. You have to mind the gap and make sure that the time frames aren't too long, because people get anxious. They get anxious. That's number 3, time kills deals. Number 4, be friendly like an actual friend. Now, this goes back to the consultation approach I was talking about earlier, but talking to prospects like you would be a friend. Being a professional is, of course, critical, but let's be real, genuine, and authentic during your communications with the prospects. Be curious and empathetic in the conversation as you would during a conversation with a close friend. This is comforting to our prospects and creates a natural pathway to easy sales conversions. This is the same. Let's put our arm around each other and be friends. Just be friendly. Quit trying to act like a freaking salesman. All right. Humor works. I'm going to go to some of the comments here, and then we'll get back to these. So we got Mac Attack says, strike while the iron is hot. Yep. He says, I feel like most of the business is won by response time. Absolutely. How many contractors don't even answer the phone, let alone call people back? Eric says, what's up? What's going on, Eric? Mac Attack says, I use humor also. It breaks the ice. Humor is great if you have a funny personality, right? Don't forcefully try to do something you're not good at. If you're a very straight-faced, very, intense professional person, and then you try to be funny, it's going to come across as inauthentic. And that is the worst thing you can do, right? It's better to be like more of an oddball than to be inauthentic. So always be friendly and act like an actual friend. I'm not saying you got to like go out for beers afterwards. I mean, some people do, but you have to be friendly, right? Yeah, I'm the same way, Mac Attack. I have to scale my sarcasm back a lot. Sometimes I don't even get it. Um, so that's be friendly. Number 5. This is one of my favorite ones. Grandma's rule. Grandma's rule is you have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. I'm sure every one of our grandparents or somebody in our life has said you have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. That's actually legitimate saying. Listening more than you talk is a true pathway to understanding your prospect and how you can help them. If your prospect is doing 70% of the talking while you're doing 30% of the conversation, talking in the conversation, you are following grandma's rule. We call it the grandma's rule. It could be also be the 70-30 rule. But basically, your prospect should be talking 70% of the time, and you're talking 30% of the time. Now, this is extremely, extremely difficult for most contractors. And the reason why is because they believe the way you sell is by selling yourself. And so a typical contractor sales meeting goes like this. Well, I've been doing this for 30 years and I'm the, Better Business Bureau, A++++, Grand Master Poobah rated, highest rated contractor. We have the best people on team. We, puke, puke, puke. I'm going to puke all over you with my greatness because I have to sell you on why you should hire me. That is what most contractors do. That is the absolute worst way you could possibly go into a sales meeting. You go into the sales meeting by asking specific questions and letting them talk. Most people like to talk. This is counterintuitive for most people. Most people believe selling is talking, convincing. It's not. It's listening. And yeah, MacTech says you will learn way more by being quiet and by asking questions. Well, you got to ask the right questions to get them to talk, right? Yeah, and you said ask pointed questions, then let them talk. Exactly. We call them calibrated questions. They're very specific questions. They're open-ended questions. If you don't know the difference between an open and closed is, do you like this color paint? And they say yes or no. That's a closed-ended question. An open-ended question would be like, what do you like so much about paint? What's your favorite color? And they may say blue. Well, what do you like so much about blue? Right? And then they talk. Well, I just really like it. When I was a kid, my room was blue and I just always liked it and blah, blah, blah. Those are open-ended questions. You want them to talk. The more they talk, the better it is for you. All right. That's the grandma's rule. Number 6, the pain and pleasure principle. This is super important. The pain and pleasure principle. Understanding that people are psychologically driven to make decisions based on either avoiding pain or capturing pleasure. And that is the key to understanding the motive behind the prospect's buying decision. People buy based on emotion and they use logic to justify their decision. I've said this before. The example is there's no reason to have a convertible car. Like there's literally no logical reason to own a convertible, right? So people buy convertibles because of the emotional response it gives them. I like the wind in my hair. I like the sun beaming down on me. More importantly, I like people looking at me because, it's all about me and I want to feel special. So I'm going to buy this convertible and that way I can look good and do all these things. That's an emotional response backed by logic. They may sell themselves on, well, it's lighter, so you get better gas mileage, or, you can get more people in there, or whatever like irrational logic they use, that people will use logic to justify their emotional decision. So when you're talking to someone, you got to find out what is the pain, what is the pleasure of what they're doing. Why are they having their bathroom remodeled? Why are they putting a new roof on? Why are they building the house? Why are they redoing landscaping? What's the reason behind it? And it's not, oh, we just want to update. That's not a reason. That's a surface level reason. And this kind of goes back to understanding objections a little bit, because a lot of times the prospect doesn't really know how to fully articulate what they're trying to say. So they may tell you it's just really dated and we want to update the bathroom. But that's the surface level. The undersurface level is, I'm embarrassed by what it looks like, and every time my mother-in-law comes over, she complains about how ugly my bathroom is. That's the underlying motive, right? That's the pain of having to feel embarrassed all the time, and I want to avoid that. Or it could be pleasure. Maybe they only have a bathtub now and they really want to walk in shower because they don't ever take a bath. Right? That's kind of a pain and a pleasure. The pain is having to take a bath. The pleasure is getting a new shower that they can go in and enjoy. You have to understand these things about your clients in the sales process. So the pain and pleasure principle. And then lastly, the number 7, this is a little more complicated. It's a little harder to be good at this, but if you are, it will change the entire game. And number 7 is talk to the personality, right? There's 4 different DISC personality profiles. Every human being can be divided into 4 different personality traits. Understanding the DISC profiles of our prospects can help you understand why their personality is different in their needs. An example is, some personalities don't want the details, others want all the details. It's paramount to understand your personality trait, you personally, as well as the people you're talking to. And if the more you can understand about the personality traits of your prospect, the better off you're going to be. Okay. So what does that mean? Well, there's the DISC profiles, there's DISC. Those different profiles have different types of traits. A D personality tends to be more direct. A lot of times they get the bad rap of being a dickhead or being hard to deal with. And this is where a lot of people get tripped up. The DISC personality traits, or the DISC personality profiles, however you want to call them, is only the way that people prefer to communicate. It's not their actual character. So I prefer to be very direct. Like, I like being very direct. Let's cut out all the nonsense and the bull crap and get to the nuts and bolts right away. I'm very direct. I'm a D personality. I'm a high D personality. Okay. That doesn't mean that every aspect of my life is like that. That's just how I prefer to communicate. Doesn't mean I can't communicate other ways. It's just my preferred method. So a lot of times people will go up against a D personality and they're very direct, and they take that as, this guy is going to be very difficult to deal with. He's going to be a dickhead and I don't want to work with him, and so screw you. The reality of it is, most D personalities are very easy to work with if you simply give them the information that they're asking quickly and straight. So for me, if I am if I'm wanting to get a new roof put on my house, and I call a roofing contractor, right? Now we're just pretending here. I don't know what a new roof costs. I have no idea. I need a new roof because mine's leaking. It's causing damage, but I don't have, I want to know if my insurance is going to cover it or whatever. And I'm just trying to get information, and I call a roofer and they go, "Hey, this is, Johnson Roofing. How can I help?" I'm like, "Hey, I'm just trying to get an idea. Like, how much is, just trying to get an estimate and see what's going to cost to replace my roof." I just want to know a number right there. Now, obviously, they need to know more information, like they need to know the size of the roof and all that stuff. But I'm just trying to get some information so that I can see what direction I need to go in. And I don't like wasting people's time. I don't like my time being wasted, and I don't want to waste someone else's time. So if that person says, "Well, sir, we'll have to schedule a 27-point inspection and come out there in 2 weeks, and it's going to take an hour while we're there, and I got to go over everything, and then I can give you a price." Click, call on the next one. I don't want to talk to you. All I want you to do is give me a ballpark of what this is going to cost. That's it. You tell me it's going to be 15,000, 20,000, whatever. I'm like, cool. Okay, it's 15,000. We can make that work. It's in our price range. All right. What do you need from me? What's the next step? right? I'm direct. I want to know. I want to know the rough costs before I invest any time and energy into that, especially if it's something that I don't necessarily need. A roof's a little bit different example. But let's say my wife says, "Hey, honey, I want to get a new, I want to get a new landscaping done in our backyard. I want to have a nice patio with a pergola and all this stuff." And I have no idea of what it costs. I don't know if it's 5,000 or 50,000. I have no clue. And I call a landscaping company and say, "Hey, I'm trying to see about getting an estimate on getting some work done. You know, what's like, what does it cost to do like an average project in their backyard? This, and this." "Oh, sir, we'll have to come out there and measure everything and give you an exact price. We can't just do it over the phone." All right, click next. I'm calling the next contractor. I just want to know, is it 5 or 50? That's it. That's a D personality. You tell me it's going to be 25,000. I'm like, cool. It's, I didn't want to spend more than 30. Let's make it happen. Let's go to the next step. Let's interview, ask all your questions, come out and measure. Let's go to the next step. The last thing I want to do as a busy professional is have you come to my house, schedule an appointment. I got to leave work early. I got to meet you out there. You do the whole song and dance about how good you are and how many awards you have and all this bull crap. And then we find out it's going to be $87,000. And I'm like, holy crap, that's way more than I ever want to spend. We're not doing this project. And then you as the contractor go, "Man, all these customers out here, man, they're just tire kickers and wasting our time. Nobody wants to spend any money." And I'm like, dude, you could have just told me in 5 seconds on a phone call what the average cost was, and we could have stopped that whole thing. I could have saved you 3 hours of your time. But you don't want to do that because you got to follow your process of coming out there and meeting with me and measuring everything, right? So when you understand personality profiles, are they an I personality? Are they an S personality? Are they a C personality? C personalities are going to be your accountants and your engineers. They will be more difficult to deal with in the sense is that they're going to want way more details. That doesn't mean you have to give it to them. I've done work for an accountant, a corporate accountant, and during the sales process, he wanted all kinds of numbers. He wanted a breakdown of everything. I said, "John, I'm not giving you a breakdown of everything. I'll give you your selection breakdown. This is the total cost. What do you want to do?" He's like, "Okay, I just need to know what our selections are." Cool, here you go. Blah, blah, blah. We do the job. After we start the job, he's perfectly fine. Like, it's not the guy's going to be a pain in the butt asking me every day how much things are cost and all that stuff, right? So you just have to know how to deal with people. A lot of you have your personality, and that's how you like to deal with things. And when you come up against someone who does things differently than you label them as a difficult customer, and therefore you say, pass, next, and you're giving away perfectly good jobs and leads because you don't want to deal with that, because you don't want to learn how to actually communicate with people. So that's, learning the DISC profile is extremely important to understanding and getting really good at sales, because when you're on a phone call, you should be able to identify what kind of person they are and then adjust your sales techniques to match them. So that's the 7 principles of contractor sales. Understanding objections, consultation approach, time kills deals, be friendly, act like a friend, grandma's rule, pain and pleasure, and talk to the personality. So, questions. What do you guys have for me? User 461762000, blah, blah, blah. Tips to get a contractor license: go work for somebody else until you understand everything about construction. And then you just simply call your local building commission and ask them what's the requirement is, and then go, and if there's a class you can take to help you study for the test, then take that class, buy the books. You can buy books that are tabbed. Get your books. If you can't buy a book that's tabbed, then go in and tab it yourself, because most contractor tests are open book tests. But if you have a book this thick and you're trying to find an article and you're looking at the table of contents, table of contents, it will be extremely difficult to find those, and you'll probably run out of time. So if you tab by chapters or tab by topics, it makes it so much easier. Mac Tech says, I have a customer who tries to negotiate every price, every job. I build in cushion negotiate for him. He isn't necessarily difficult, but he keeps it interesting. I'm not a fan of cushioning in price to negotiate. I'm not a fan of that at all. I think that's kind of a used car sales tactic. I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm not saying that you're doing it in a bad way. You know, it may work for that specific customer, especially if they are a certain ethnic background. But for me, it's the price is the price. Take it or leave it. Essentially, I'm not saying it like that, but that's the end of it. Yeah, I'm not calling you out or anything on that, MacTac. I'm just saying I'm not a big fan of padding the price to come down so people feel like they're getting a discount. There's two other this is not one of the 7 principles of selling, okay? But there are 2 types of negotiators. There's 2 types of negotiations that all negotiations go through. There's competitive negotiators and there's cooperative negotiators. Most people are cooperative negotiators. They want to come up with a win-win deal, right? Competitive negotiators like your guy you're talking about, he wants you to lose so that he feels like he's winning. That's a competitive negotiator. The most iconic competitive negotiator that people probably ever think of is Donald Trump. He is a competitive negotiator. He's going to beat you down on the price until he feels like he's winning, right? That's a competitive negotiator. When you go up against a competitive negotiator, you have to make it seem like they're winning, but you can't lose. You just have to do it in a way that makes it seem like, dude, you got me over a barrel here. Like there's nothing else I can do. Like I can't do any better on the price. Like, is that good enough or where should we go from here? But most people are cooperative. If you are a competitive negotiator yourself and you go up against a cooperative negotiator, you will dominate them and they will leave the meeting feeling like you just took advantage of them. If a cooperative person goes up against if a competitive person goes up against cooperative and the competitive wins, competitive's like, hey, I'm good, everybody's happy, we came to a conclusion, everyone's happy. The cooperative person feels like they just got stepped on, like they lost. If you have 2 cooperative people that go up against each other, they usually both leave the sale equal. Like, oh, we came to a win-win, everybody's happy. If 2 competitive people go up against each other, it's interesting because they will it's like what's the saying, game recognized as game. When you have 2 competitive people that are going up against each other, it's like they actually respect the other person because of it. And so it can be interesting in how that negotiates. Usually you have to have some, not necessarily price recession. What's the word I'm thinking of? Yeah, that word. It's not always like you have to come down on your price for the other person to win, but maybe you have to throw in something else. Maybe I can't come off price, but I can throw in this extra thing, right? And then that way they feel like they won. He says, I kind of started it when we were slow and just kind of stuck. Yeah. Once you discount, everyone will expect a discount because you're telling them my price really isn't my price. That's why you should never lower your price. He's an auto service writer, type. Yeah, I'm super competitive too, so I still have to win. Well, when you're going up against other people, Mac Attack, I would turn off your competitiveness, like when you're talking to clients, because you want to come across as cooperative. That's why I always say use a consultation approach, and not do not dominate the conversation. Josh says, for the D-type personality that just wants a ballpark price, what is a reasonable range to give somebody? For example, would you say the bathroom would cost 20 to 30, or would you say a smaller range like 25 to 30? So, Josh, when you give ballpark pricing, guys, you're not trying to give them exact pricing. Okay, that is not the purpose of doing a ballpark. It's not to say if someone calls you and says they want a bathroom remodel, It's not, and they say, how much we're looking to have our master bathroom done. How much is that? How much does the master bathroom typically cost? And you ask them qualifying questions. How big is it? You're talking about a shower, bathtub, blah, blah, blah. And then they want to get a price. You're not taking notes. Like, you're not writing down here, 50 square foot of tile, that's going to be at $6 a square foot equals this amount, and a shower is this much, and this. No, that's not what you're doing. You're not actually trying to give them a real estimate. You're just trying to get a budget out of them. So if I'm talking to someone about a master bathroom, my response may be something like this. After I've gotten, a general scope of work of what they want, I know their motive, I know what they're doing, I may say something like this. Hey, Josh, I got a pretty good understanding of what you're wanting in this bathroom. Is it okay if we talk about the finances now? Can we talk about money now? You're going to say, yeah, sure. What's the damage? What are we looking at? Well, before I give you the price, I just want to make sure you have to promise me that you're not going to yell out a 4-letter cuss word and then hang up the phone on me. You got to promise me. And you're going to laugh. Oh, I'm not going to do that. I would never do that. Okay. I just want to make sure. So to do this project, like we discussed, if we came in there and we just blew both your socks off and just provided you with this absolutely gorgeous bathroom that you're going to want to show off to all your friends, it would not be unreasonable for this to cost $60,000. And they're going to be like, holy crap, that's way more than what I thought it was going to be. And you might say, yeah, I know it can definitely be expensive. And I may let them talk, depending on the response. They may say, well, is that the cheapest? I mean, is that what it's going to be? And I'm like, oh, no, that's just if we go on the top end. I mean, maybe we only blow one of your socks off. We don't blow both of them off. And, we're still providing you with a nice, brand new bathroom. That's very nice, but we're not as crazy on the selections. We're a little more conservative. Maybe we don't do X thing that we talked about. For that, we can come in there and definitely do it for around 30,000. And then I shut my mouth again and let them talk. Oh, well, that's way closer to what we were thinking, was 30,000. Okay. Is that 30 in your, you're comfortable with that, or, where are you at with that? Oh, no, it's a little bit higher, but we didn't know. We thought maybe it was, probably somewhere around 25, 30,000. Okay. So it's still on the top end of your price range then. Yeah, it's definitely at the top end. Okay. That's it. I gave him a $30,000 swing. I'm not trying to get it. I'm not trying to look at it and get all their square footage and go, okay, Josh, you're looking at your bathroom's going to be $27,462.16. How does that sound? That's not what we're doing, right? We're doing it to get their price. That's the whole reason behind it. And unless you've never done a bathroom before, if you've never done one, you would have no idea what things cost. But if you've done at least 2 bathrooms, you have 2 different price points, whether it was a 15,000 and a 12,000, or a 20,000 and a 10,000, or whatever. You have 2 different price points. And based on that experience, if you had 2 that were 17 and 15, but they were very basic, then you know that if you do a really high-end bathroom, it's going to be more than 17,000 for sure. And you may need to double that. You may need to triple that. The truth of the matter is the high end doesn't matter. I could say it's 100,000. I could say, Josh, we've done bathrooms for people that were $100,000, and they'll crap their pants. Holy crap! I could, that's twice the cost of our house or whatever, right? It's not, the purpose of the high anchor is not to give them the exact price of what it's going to be. It's just simply to saying that we can be all over the place on this. It's really just a matter of what your budget is and what you want. But I'm not asking them for their budget. The whole reason that we give our price to get their price is because it makes it easier. If you and I were going to a lake and we're hanging out at the lake, nobody else is there, it's just you and I, and you say, hey, let's go swimming. And I'm like, well, I don't really want to get wet. I don't want, I guess I could go skinny dipping. Let's go skinny dipping. Now, I'm not hitting on you, Josh. Just want to be clear. I'm not hitting on you. But if we were going to go skinny dipping, who's taking off their clothes first, right? If you and I are standing there getting ready to go swimming and we're going to go skinny dipping, it's going to be awkward. Like the one of us is probably not going to want to take off our clothes first. But if I take off my clothes first, you're probably going to feel a little more at ease to take off your clothes secondly, right? It's the same concept because I've exposed myself. Then I jump in the lake, right? Now you're like, oh, okay, well, he did it. I guess I can do it. That's the same concept with giving price. It's the exact same concept. If I show you my hand in poker first, then you're gonna feel a lot more comfortable to show me your hand. So when you give the Bryce the ballpark, you're now letting them feel more comfortable to tell you what their actual budget is. So that's an example. You can do ranges. I've done a combination of ranges and ballparks where it's like, on the high end, Josh, if we come in there and blow both your socks off, blah, 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 this could be a somewhere between $50,000 and $60,000. If we come in there and we're ultra conservative and we just, we make smart decisions, this could be somewhere between 25 and 30,000. Which conversation should we be having? Or does that even fit in your ballpark? I mean, your budget. Does that fit in your budget? Is that what you were thinking? Is that what you had in mind? And they're going to tell you, well, we definitely didn't have 60,000 in our mind, but we figured it was probably going to be somewhere around 30 to 40. So okay, so what where would you be comfortable at? Like what would be your comfortable range you want to stay in? Well, I mean, if we can keep it under 40,000, like top of the line would be 40, preferably closer to like 35. I think we can make it happen. Perfect. Well, we can definitely do a beautiful bathroom for you with that. That's a healthy budget. We can do a lot of things and get those 4 things that you really wanted. That's not a problem. We can do it with that budget. Right. And now it's not well, if I tell you what my budget is, you're going to max out my price and just charge me extra because you know how much money I have to spend. That's what you're eliminating, is that anxiety around, well, they're going to spend all my money. So that's why when you give a ballpark, it removes that. If I said, 50 to 60 on the high end, 20 to 30 on the low end, is that even what you were thinking? And they go, no, that's way more than what we were thinking. Oh, okay. Well, how much were you hoping to spend then? Or what were you thinking it was going to be? They may say, oh, well, we thought it was only going to be 15,000. I'm just curious, like what led you to come up with that number? Oh, well, we had our other bathroom done 2 years ago and it was it was $10,000. And we just figure with inflation and materials, it would be about another 15. Oh, okay. Okay. You said that was 2 years ago you had that done? Yeah, yeah. And was that a contractor or who did that? Oh, yeah, it was a contractor. And I just go down that line. Well, you're gonna be mad at me, Josh. You're gonna be mad at me when I tell you this, but there is no way we can do this bathroom like we talked about for 15,000. I couldn't even do it for 20,000. I mean, we would like bottom dollar if we probably would have to take out some of the things that you were talking about, but like 25,000 would be the bottom. So we're pretty significantly far apart. We're $10,000-$15,000 apart. I mean, is that going to be a deal breaker? Did I just lose the deal? And then they can respond, right? I'm not selling them yet. I'm not selling them. I didn't say you have to take his deal and put a gun to their head, say you better buy this. I'm just telling you this is what I can do it for. I mean, if you just want us to come in there and like put a new vanity and new tile on the floor, we could probably do it for 10 or 15, but we can't do a full gut with a walk-in shower and the heated floors and everything that you're, dreaming about. Like, there's no way we can do it. Hey, Josh. Yeah. Thanks for hopping in here, man. We got multiple Joshes. I don't know if that's the same Josh or a different Josh, but so I hope I answered your question, Josh. Kate on Facebook. If it did, great. If not, let me know. What other questions do you guys have for me in regards to sales, in construction sales or just sales in general, or if not, even if you have some other business questions, I'd be happy to answer them for you. Drop them in the comments. Yeah, Matt, thanks for jumping in here. I appreciate it. I'll have to leave about 5 minutes earlier today. I got a call right at 12 with another contractor to see if we can help him in his business. Actually met on TikTok, and he's got some really good videos and content, and he's doing some really cool things. So I looking forward to talking to him. Still trying to find more ways to have homeowners contacting me to do work for them. Well, so you're talking about leads, right? Marketing. Do you have your Google listing set up and optimized? Are you collecting reviews? Are you posting to Google on a regular basis? Are you using Google pay-per-click paid ads? Are you posting regularly organically on Facebook? Are you doing Facebook ads? Are your vehicles wrapped? Are you putting out flyers or yard signs? Are you asking for referrals? Is your website decent looking? Those are all things that are going to help you get more leads. Referral sources. Are you in a BNI group? Do you have networks with other people like designers, other contractors, other referral sources? Do you have networks with people? There's not. The Google scams. I've been doing it for like 12 years. I've yet to have a scam on Google. Like, very rarely do I hear anyone even talk about scams on Google. I mean, sure, if your competitors can go click on your ads and run up your ad spend, but you can even buy apps that will prevent that from happening. I don't use the apps that prevent it from happening. I only spend in my business. I only spent like $150 a month on Google pay-per-click, and I got about 30 to 40 leads every month. So Google pay-per-click is by far the most effective advertising for contractors, hands down. Google pay-per-click, the most effective. Now, you may suck at creating ads. That's a possibility. So you may want to hire someone to do that for you. It can be expensive to hire someone. I know someone that does stuff, and he's $1,500 a month, but he gets you leads. Your phone will be ringing. Yeah, so let me give you a tip, Matt, about BNI, because a lot of people do BNI wrong, and then I'll jump in with Stefan. Yeah, I did cover that a little bit, Stefan, about the turnaround time. I was just talking about the 7 principles of contractor sales, and time kills deals is number 3. You got to have good lead time, or not lead time, good response time, and return calls ASAP. Yeah. I don't know about providing estimates the next day. I don't know if I would say that that's a requirement, but definitely responding to leads is going to be super important as fast as you possibly can. So yeah, it's a good point. So BNI, Matt, this is where people get BNI wrong, and I'm going to give you the gold nugget here. All right, to get your pen out. If you guys don't know what BNI is, it's Business Networking International. It's a networking group where you meet once a week and you share referrals back and forth, and maybe bring guests if you have live meetings, and so on and so on. It's just like, and there's only one seat of each trade or each person. There's only one insurance guy, one banker, one accountant, one attorney, maybe one landscaper, one remodeler, one electrician, one plumber. There's only one of everything. So there's no competition within the group, and you build up a network of people. And the concept is that every one of us know roughly 300 people in our network. So, I may know more than that, but on average, everyone knows about 300 people between high school and work and friends and kids' sporting activities. Like, we know people, right? So, and you're in a networking group. If Matt and I were in a networking group, and Matt says, I'm looking for an introduction to whatever, realtors. I want to talk to realtors so that I can get in there and do, inspection repairs or whatever. I may know 3 or 4 realtors. I may be friends with a realtor. I may know these people, and I can tell Matt, I'd be like, yeah, dude, I got 2 of my friends are really good realtors. I'll hook you up. I'll make the connection. That's what BNI does. But this is where people get wrong with BNI, especially contractors. They'll show up and they'll say, I'm looking for a warm referral for homeowners that, I don't know what you do, Matt. I don't know what your trade is. I'm looking for homeowners that are looking to have landscaping put in their backyard. If you know anybody that's looking to have landscaping done, give me a call or, send them my way and I'll take care of them for you. That's the wrong way to do your 60-second commercial. BNI should be about optimizely. I don't know what you mean by that. I need an optimizely contractor. Go. I don't know what you mean by that. BNI is not about getting referrals. You want referral sources. Okay. You want to find people that are going to give you referrals. So if you're doing bathrooms, kitchens, and custom basements, then you want introductions to designers, to realtors, to other specific subcontractors who can recommend you, right? You don't want to ask for basements, bathrooms, and kitchen remodels. You want to ask for people who are going to refer you those jobs, i.e. designers, suppliers, vendors. But here's the thing you have to do, Matt. You have to do the due diligence. You have to do the homework. You have to find a specific designer that you want to work with. Let's just say the guy's name is Chris Williams. He's a big designer in your town. You have to look it up, find out who are the designers, create a list, look at all the people, find their names, get their contact, what company they work for. You have to do all that work. And then you show up and you say, hey, I'm Matt, and I'm looking for a warm introduction to Chris Williams. He works at XYZ Design. I'd like to talk to him about how we can extend his design capabilities with our remodels. Now, there's a high probability that someone in that room may know Chris, and then they're going to make that connection. But what people a lot of times can't do with their brain, if you show up and say, I'm looking for a warm introduction to interior designers, there may be someone in that group that knows Chris personally, but they don't associate him as an interior designer. They associate him as their daughter's teammate's dad. They know him as Chris. They know he's Chris Williams. They know him from soccer, but they don't associate in their brain that he's an interior designer and that therefore you're asking for an interior designer. They're going to make that connection, right? So you have to go in there and specifically ask for people by name, and you need to do it 2 or 3 times in a row. And if you don't get anything, then move on to something else. But that's the key to BNI, to being good at BNI. Dudo says web content management software. We pay $10K a month for. Developers hate everybody else in IT. What software are you talking about, dude? Dudo, however you say your name. You lost me on the content management software. Like, what are you doing with that? Is that for like you're running your construction company with it or what? I don't know if he's still on. I don't know if Stefan's still on my Facebook, but he's actually one of the higher up product designers and developers for a company that I use and recommend. I'm just curious. I'm trying to figure out what you're saying about the content management software. Like, what specifically are you doing? Dueto, or however you say your name, 923. Oh, I can't help you with that, man. Large enterprise web application. Yeah, I can't help you with that. So, all right, guys, I got to jump on a call here in a few minutes and I need to run into the little boys' room. So I appreciate you all jumping on here and hanging out with me for the last hour. I go live every Mondays and Fridays at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. And if you're looking for help in your business, feel free to reach out to me. You can go to my profile, click on the links on TikTok and Facebook. You should be able to figure out how to get a hold of me. Just tag me in a post or something or message me, and then I'll see if I can help you out. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Hope you have a great weekend, and we'll see you on Monday. Thank you.